back with Witchy Wednesday and the YouTube challenge. So I'm about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks behind. So I am going to just kind of wrap them all up like I have done before. So the first question was, what does this time of year mean to you in relation to September 21st, 22nd, which here in the Northern Hemisphere is the autumn equinox, or some people say Mabon. So here in where I live, it falls in full force. The trees are changing colors. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite times of year. And I love that we are getting into the dark half of the year where there's more darkness than there is light. I love autumn equinox, Samhain, Yule, Imbolc. Those are my favorites. So I'm all about this time of year. So for me, it's really a time of celebrating the harvest, celebrating what we've been given this year. In fact, I kind of think of it as like a witchy Thanksgiving. Now, it kind of falls in good here because here in Canada, we have Thanksgiving the second Monday of October. So it's all kind of like part of that Thanksgiving type season. The harvest is ended. It's just a great time to be thankful for not only just, not only what you have on your table as far as food, which is something obviously to be very thankful for, but anything that you've kind of come to fruition, anything you've worked on for the year. We're getting towards the end of the year. People are starting to wrap things up. So it's good to be able to look back and think about all the things you've accomplished and be thankful for it. So I do think of it as kind of a Thanksgiving. I also think of it as a good time to recognize the sage and the crone. We are, getting into the cycle of the year where, the trees and things are starting to hibernate or to die in order to be reborn in the spring. So, thinking about the crone goddess and the sage gods and thinking about, wisdom and also honoring the older people in our life and their wisdom and the teachers in our lives who have shared wisdom with us. So for me, that's very much, what fall or autumn equinox is about. So I really love this time of year. I think it is a really wonderful time of year to celebrate the earth as well because trees are changing color. It just looks so gorgeous out. And I kind of see it too as a time to make a commitment towards being good to the earth and giving back to the earth. The earth gives us so much. And what do we do to give back to it? And that can be anything from, composting to recycling to what are we doing to help preserve and to be good stewards and take care of the earth. What are we giving back? So those are kind of the themes for me anyway about fall equinox. I know in the southern hemisphere it is spring equinox. So, happy spring to all of you over there. The second question was about darkness. Now, the week before Mabon, we were asked about light and what does light symbolize to us. So the word dark, unfortunately, has a lot of different connotations. Now, when somebody says I follow a dark path, that could mean a couple of things. In our culture, dark is often equivalent with evil, unfortunately. And so sometimes when people say that, they do actually mean that they're, kind of up to no good, which obviously isn't good. But dark also, for me, just means the subconscious. Light is conscious and dark is subconscious. Light is about the external and dark is about the internal. Light is about external knowledge and dark is about internal knowledge. So to me, it's not a bad thing. The dark time of year is usually a time when we kind of hibernate more, we go more within, we read more books, we get cozier. And those are all good things. We generally, most of us sleep at night when it's dark, and that's when our subconscious and our dreams are active. And to me, those two things, the conscious and the subconscious mind, have to work together in order to make you a whole and healthy person. So you have to have a good balance of light and dark. And that does not mean bad. But we have to be careful when people say, oh, well, I follow a dark path. Well, that can mean all sorts of things. So you really have to kind of, when somebody says that, probe a little bit to find out what they actually mean by that. But for me, personally, if something is dark, that does not necessarily mean bad. It could just mean, like I said, for me, it means talking about the subconscious. It's the underworld as opposed to the upper world. It's below as opposed to above. So it's not negative. It's just another facet of life. So for example, Hecate or Hecate, however you want to pronounce it. Some people would consider her a dark goddess, but she's a crone goddess. She's a goddess of witchcraft. She's a goddess of choosing your path, a goddess of the crossroads. So some people would say that makes her a dark goddess. Or Hades or Pluto, the god of the underworld and the dead. Now, neither of these gods and goddesses are negative. They're just dealing with the subconscious and the world of the dead as opposed to the upper world and the world of the conscious. So again, nothing negative about that. That's the way I see it anyway. I'd love to know what you think about it. The third question is, do you believe in spirits like angels and fairies and things? And the answer is yes. Yes, I do. Not everything that is out there is on this particular realm or plane of existence. Now, we live in the physical realm that's very tangible to us, that's, very solid, but there are other realms where other things exist. And, for example, obviously, when you die, I believe that you go to another realm and, you exist there. And I believe that there's several, there's different realms. And I think there's just way more in the world than we could possibly ever know. Some people only believe in what they can see, and they only believe in the physical realm, and that's fine for them, but it's definitely not for me. I know I've just seen too many things and heard too many things to think otherwise. I have on occasion, the odd time, I have seen spirits. When I do readings for people, sometimes spirits show up, although it's mostly more pets than people. So I definitely know that there's, spirits, and that we exist beyond death. I obviously don't claim to know everything about it. I just know that this is something that's real and is something that exists. I believe in fairies as well, and I mean, not like the, Victorian style type fairies, but I do believe that there are nature spirits, spirits that watch out over wild places and over plants and things, and they're also part of our world, even though, again, they may not be tangible. And I do believe in things like angels as well. And I do believe there are negative spirits. Now, where they come from, who knows? But I do believe that there are some spirits who've chosen to not go towards the light, or to not cross over, or are wrapped up in their own negativity for, at least for now. Because I do believe we all evolve, as we reincarnate and as we grow. I also believe, in gods and goddesses, and I believe in, that there is a force that overrides it all, whether you call it God, goddess, source, universe, doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. But I do believe that, there's more in the universe than we could possibly ever know. There isn't just this realm, there are others. And then there's too, you get into things like other dimensions, and are there aliens and things like that. And I don't know, but, I don't think that, anyone could possibly ever dismiss it. I mean, this can't be the only thing that's out there. So, I do believe, I obviously have skepticism as far as like, if somebody tells me a story, I don't just automatically believe it. But at the same time too, I've just heard too many stories from people. I've seen and read too much and experienced too much stuff myself to think that this realm is it and there's nothing else. And certainly, being on a spiritual path, there's too many weird coincidences and things that happen and messages that you get. I just know there's more than just this, and there's more spirits around than just people. So that's what I think of things, and that's probably like a very muddled and I don't know, I feel like I went on a little tangent there, but that's what I think in sort of a weird wondering nutshell. Let me know what you think about things. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.